A good friend of mine asked me to start a politics podcast with her, and I'm thinking about it. Let's talk about it. By the way, I'm KJ Miller. I love talking about all things business, pop culture, beauty, politics, a little bit of everything. If you like any of that, be sure to subscribe. Now, let's chat. Okay, so right off the bat, this video is going to be not nearly as structured as I typically do because I'm kind of just thinking out loud here, and also wanted to put this video out to get you guys' thoughts on if this is something you're interested in from me. But a very good friend of mine who is definitely in deep into the politics world, like she works for a political candidate. She's in deep, obviously a Democrat, obviously, has kind of pitched this idea of us starting a political podcast together. And I'm kind of into it, kind of nervous about it. And so I thought I would just think some of my thoughts out loud here and get you guys' feedback. First and foremost, I am politically involved, sort of, right? Like I do use my platform to talk about politics from time to time, particularly in the lead up to the election. I was posting about Kamala and Trump all the time over on TikTok, a few times here as well on my podcast. I do like to use the platforms that I have to support the candidates and the issues that mean something to me. And also beyond that, beyond getting on the internet and talking about the things that are important to me politically, I also have used my time and my money and calling my senators and congresspeople and all of that. Like I've done the civic things that you should do when you are engaged in a political process and just generally in society. So I've always been at least a bit politically involved, not nearly as much, again, as my friend who's asked me to do this podcast, but I've always kind of been on the periphery. I think that's a word. Most recently, if you didn't see, I made a video thanking Cory Booker for his filibuster, for his protest recently. And he reposted that video and responded directly to me. And that meant a lot to me. It really did. I'll never forget that. And I am really proud of what Cory did. And well, I should say Senator Booker did. And happy to have, lent my voice to this cause of protesting what Trump and his corrupt administration are doing in this moment. Very happy to lend my voice that way. And so I think it kind of has reignited this conversation with me and my friend, because she actually kind of pitched this idea to me months ago. And we both were like, okay, that could be something. But then, obviously we both got very busy. Now it's come back up. And now we're going to have another more serious conversation about it. And so I want to tell you some of the things that excite me about it and some of the things that are making me really hesitant. In terms of the things that excite me, I will just be honest and say I have thought that one far off career for me could be something a bit more involved in politics. Not federal politics, okay? Not president, not senator, none of that, but something more local. Have I thought about it? Sure, I have. I mean, I don't know. I like to lead, okay? So has it crossed my mind? Sure. And because it's crossed my mind, because it's something that sort of stays in the back of my mind as maybe in my late 40s, maybe in my 50s, I run for city council or mayor. Because it's in the back of my mind, I am always thinking about how I can get more involved in politics if that is a path I eventually want to take. So from that perspective, it feels interesting to me. The other reason it feels interesting to me is because, so much is going on right now, and I'm so terrified of what's going on right now, not just for me, but really for my child. And I'm terrified of the world that we might be building for her. And I do want to do my part to make it better. And so if there is a way for me to use the skill set I have, and I think you could argue yapping is a skill set I have, and talking and, being insightful and thoughtful and all those things when I do it. If there's a way for me to use that skill set to kind of push conversations forward in a positive manner that somehow help alleviate all of the pain and terror of this current administration, I like the thought of that. I do. It does matter to me that I am doing my part to make my daughter's world a little bit better. And I think you could argue there's a way to do that with a politics podcast, because so much of the negativity that's out there right now is honestly being spread by podcasts. It's actually kind of crazy to think about, but like these men with mics who spout off all of this red pill language, like it is working, it's seeping in. And so I think like some of us really do have a responsibility to combat that with our own podcasts. And while I do think Two Queens, Two Crowns, which is my podcast, and it's a pop culture podcast, I think it helps combat it kind of like peripherally, right? By making sure that we're having conversations centered around women in a more positive way. Maybe there is a need to be a bit more surgical, and more direct, which is what this podcast could potentially do. And then the third reason that I am interested is because my friend who's asked me to do this, I really like her. And I have found just from the other podcasts that I have done, hosting a podcast with someone is also a way that you get to just spend more time with your friend. And, I'm in my 30s, I have a child. I don't get that many opportunities to just kick it with my friends. And sometimes podcasts give you that opportunity. It's like a nice little cheat code, honestly. So there's that as well. Now let me get to my hesitations. There are two big ones. The first is the way the Trump administration is coming after people who speak out against them in any way, particularly Black and brown people who speak out against them, terrifies me. And putting myself in harm's way, and more importantly, my family in harm's way, simply so I can get up on a mic and chit chat, I don't love the thought of that, right? So I do think there's just a real part of me that feels scared that I'd be opening myself and my family up for terror directly from that administration, but also from all of his like cronies and followers and MAGA and everything else who like to dox people and just are really hateful. The thought of potentially opening myself up to that is very, very scary and definitely makes me very nervous. So that's kind of the number one reason I'm hesitant. But the second reason I'm hesitant is really because I'm just very busy. Okay. I have too many jobs. If you didn't know, I am running 4 beauty brands right now, 4 whole multi-million-dollar beauty brands. I'm the president of all 4 of them. I used to only be president of 2. Then our parent company came to me and said they wanted me to run 2 more. And I thought that is a great idea. Okay, well, let me tell you, I'm exhausted. So I'm running those 4 beauty brands. I am teaching at The Ohio State University, Fisher College of Business, a job I love, but also is a lot of work. I am running my podcast. I'm posting every day on TikTok. I'm trying to commit to get up on this YouTube twice a week because I know I've been letting y'all down. So I'm trying to get back to that. I am publishing a Substack every single week. And I am now officially signed with a book agent because I'm trying to write a book, y'all. Would you not be tired? I'm tired. Okay. So I've got a lot going on, and one thing I hate is committing to something and then not doing it well. So I don't want to overcommit. If I'm going to say yes to something, I want it to be because I can do it well. So those are my hesitations. Anyway, I wanted to share all of that with you because really and truly, I'd love to know what you think. Would you even listen to a politics podcast for me? I'm not a political expert by any means. I'm someone who cares. I'm someone who tries to stay somewhat engaged. I'm someone who has an opinion, obviously, on a lot of things, but I'm not a political expert. There are plenty of politics podcasts. Would you care? Would you listen? That's what I really want to know. And secondly, if you think you would, what sort of things do you think you'd be interested to hear about? Would it simply be, the headlines, like this is what's happening in the news and politics and this is what we think? Is there a specific set of issues you think would be really interesting to hear from me if I were to start this podcast? I mean, really and truly, I want to know like what you think. So please drop a comment here or come find me on TikTok or Substack, drop a comment there. I really and truly would just love to know your thoughts. Anyway, that's it for this video. As always, I would love it if you subscribed, and I'll see you next time.